know if this is going to happen as it happened or before it happens.
Yeah, we're uploading it now.
Just uploading it, boom.
I was curious about what our that's nice and clear. What our involvement was in that. Are we taking that video and putting it on our own social media page, or are we having an interview with one or the other?
Are you okay? Someone has taken over Adam's body. He's now a robot. What is it?
Well, R2D2.
Yeah, no, the tall one.
Oh, C3PO.
C3PO.
The butler, thanks.
That's what you started to go into then. All you needed to do was move your arms. Oh, it's jokes. It's good.
All right, bring me in, dude. Hey there, everyone. Another episode of the Hear2Listen Podcast. I'm here with myself, obviously, Adam, and I'm here with Jack.
Hello.
Max.
Easy.
Leon.
Yo, yo.
What's up? We've got it down now, nearly, I'd say, apart from my fluff at the beginning. Moving on. So this week, we're kind of going with a little angle of topics. I know a lot of podcasts out there, they just kind of wing it, and we might do that in the future as well. But I think while we've got things on our mind that we want to talk about, we've sort of scheduled them in to a certain extent in the future episodes. We've got a killer August coming up for you with guests coming in as well. But for now, we're going to go with kind of health and fitness, sports, exercise, that kind of thing. I wondered if it might come off the back a little bit of the COVID era that we're living in at the minute, and tying in a little bit around our motivations last time. And speaking from experience, I certainly increased. I kind of lost my jiu-jitsu because, you know, jiu-jitsu is the opposite of social distancing, so I kind of lost that. I lost my frisbee as well. I know I sound like a little kid. My frisbee got stolen.
I lost my frisbee and my jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, very sad about that. But yeah, just because of all the lockdown stuff that got prevented. However, I did pick up the kettlebell a lot more than I normally do. I'm usually a sort of once a day, 20k, fling it around a little bit for 15 minutes. But with sort of lockdown stuff, I was able to do it 3 times a day for the most part. Bike rides have been great for me as well during the lockdown as well, and not least because it was a bit of freedom in the early days. Even the little bit that the government said around you can do a bit of exercise. I mean, I took that to the extreme. I went out for like 2-3 hours sometimes as well. It's like, you said we could do exercise, so here I am.
That seems like ages ago, doesn't it? When you just said that, when the government said you could go out for exercise, that's mad to hear that, because there was actually a thing where we weren't allowed to go out. Like, just to say that, it seems mad. It seems like a thing of the past, but actually, how many months? That's what?
It's March, wasn't it?
March, yeah. So I remember just walking the dogs every day.
Everyone picked up their fitness game, didn't they?
Yeah.
Not because they wanted to, just because they needed to get away from their partners, their kids, or whatever it was, or just break away
out the house.
The walls. Yeah, it's hard when you're doing something like that. You should be feeling a lot better for it, but I bet a lot of people wasn't. Even though they was doing the good thing and doing more exercise, to go back and sit in the same place and not see people and have them connections. It's probably just balancing out even for your mental state and your physical state. Do you know what I mean? Because you're doing that exercise, but then what you're doing? Coming back and watching Netflix.
Yeah, you're being forced to do exercise.
It was a break, wasn't it? It was a break.
Yeah,
that's how I treated it. It was and I had this sort of aspect of, I'd got it down to 15 minutes, which doesn't sound very long, but when you swing a kettlebell around for 15 minutes, it's quite heavy. I had no excuse. That was my thinking. It's 15 minutes, man. You've got no excuse. That was like my primary motivation thing. So like, I finished dinner or whatever. It's like, I want to get on the TV. No, I've got 15 minutes time, I'll get on the TV. Do you know what I mean? So it acted quite well for me, I think. I was quite happy with it.
Sorry, I just had a little animation in my head then of you climbing on top of the TV. Like, just get on the TV, I just keep my mind playing tricks. I'm gonna get on the
He's
TV.
losing it.
I'm losing the plot.
A bit hard on a flat screen, Max.
Yeah, in the animation in my mind, it was like a cartoon one, and it was the old box one with the little area at the top. And
right.
You know, like a Mr. Bean
Look,
style.
oh my God, Max, you took the words out of my mouth.
Mr. Bean style.
Mr.
Yes,
Bean cartoon,
Jack,
Adam climbing on a
climbing
TV.
on top. Yeah, sorry, we're getting sidetracked. It's one of those days. It's one of those days.
But if we compare, I suppose, the lockdown to normal exercise, I mean, I don't know if that's changed for anybody else here.
See, when the lockdown happened, I'd say my exercise went down because I was probably going gym maybe 2-3 times a week. And then once the lockdown happened, couldn't go gym. Although even I stopped going gym probably about a week and a half just because it was all scary at that time and it was all new and it was all like, oh my God, COVID-19. Even though it still is now, but at the time it was all a bit newer and I feel like I had a bit more fear in me back then.
Feels like the fear's stopping it. It definitely eased off.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether it's that or just getting comfortable with knowing that there's a virus out there. And
There's always been viruses out there.
This is true. This is also true. But yeah, my exercise probably definitely went downhill because when I go gym and stuff, it's more of a social. So I'll go with like a mate, and then I'll meet him there Saturday morning. We'll go to like hopefully we will do again soon. We'll go to like different gyms around like the county. So we'll go to like gym in Welling. We'll go to like gym in Watford. But like it's the whole thing, getting out for the morning. Get out, you do your exercise. You're there for like maybe an hour and a half. Have a little pre-workout. Drive home. Then you're absolutely knackered for the rest of the day. So it's more of like a day out. So I've probably done a lot less. Up until recently though, bike rides, like you said, I've got a new bike for my birthday, which was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Leon.
Thank you.
For yesterday.
Birthday.
It's the first birthday on the podcast.
Oh, it is. We haven't even got happy birthday.
Taking a gamble.
Taking a gamble. Having your
That's all you get.
Well, I'm not 30 yet, so
Hey.
that's enough of that.
Where you said though, Leon, like you get motivated by going to the gym. I couldn't think of anything worse. I'm not saying I haven't ever used gyms, but for me, that does not motivate me. That puts me off of working out, knowing that there's potentially going to be more than 15, 20 people, even like 10 people. Not saying that everyone just goes in there to stare at other people, but you feel like there's a lot of eyes on you every time. It doesn't matter where you are, you're always looking at someone. Or you're making, you can't. I think it's so uncomfortable to be working out and then to look up and there's someone else working out staring at you, right? And then you look in the mirror to try and look away, but actually then you make eye contact with someone else. So I don't want to just look into someone's eyes whilst working out. Give me a garden, give me a forest, give me anything outdoors, own body weight. Like,
Yeah, I hear that.
yeah, that motivates
But
me.
what I'd like, to me, when I see other people in the gym, they're there to bet themselves. So you might think they're looking at you, but all they're doing is training. And they're probably just looking around the room. Actually, they're there. Everyone at the gym, no matter what size they are, they're there to bet themselves. They're probably not even worrying about what you're doing.
I remember you told me that. Leon took me to a Wedgeman gym. And I was like, Leon, bro, I was like, I can't go to this gym with you. I was like, I'm going to be like the skinniest guy in there. And he's like, nah, trust me, like, no one will even notice. Like, everyone's there to bet themselves and walk in.
What's a wedge man gym?
A gym full
Right,
of
so-
wedge men.
What, a big top, like
So,
hench?
Hench.
what he's talking about, basically, so you got like leisure gyms, which are probably for like the local community, so like families, like just your casual fitness. And then you got gyms where people are into bodybuilding, into maybe lifting weights a bit more extremely and getting a bit more stronger, pushing their bodies a little bit harder. They create different atmospheres, so they have like, instead of just playing Radio Heart, they'll play like up to date.
Pop the jam, pop it up.
Yeah, they play like upbeat songs, like to sort of create an atmosphere where you're there to train, you're there to train.
I just want to, when you said that, you say that, like people don't go there to look. You're telling me because you can lift, I don't know if you can now, but I remember going to the gym with you and he can lift a bit, right? And he's telling me right here, right now, that you don't see someone like, I don't know, myself, for example, that's not big in any way, shape or form, but get on there. I bet you any money, you have a look over and go, what's he saying then? Let's see what. Oh,
right.
yeah. And then when I get off, you'll go over there and make me look like a
I'm
goon.
going to answer Leon for him because I
thanks,
went to Saxon with Leon and he definitely does because he had to go in there and lift the heaviest amount he could just to show everyone else how wedge he was. He was in there, he's like, I'm going to max out.
And then he picked me up and started benching me.
Wait, mate, he could have. He's lifting more than me.
But no,
Well,
if
you know.
you can, why not? Why not? But it's not attractive to, not saying that's not
Yeah.
attractive, it's not appealing, sorry, going into a gym to be assessed by other people. Somebody's watching me. Because
But they're not.
They are.
I get Jack. I get what you're saying. Thanks for answering for me. I feel like I need to speak on this because I suppose when you do get a bit stronger, a little bit of an ego does come with it. So
natural. It's natural.
But then that's one of the reasons, I suppose, when we go to new gyms, we like to go to new gyms. We feel like we can push ourselves better because like it's a new environment. We want to try and push ourselves even harder. So I suppose that does come into it. But at the same time, Max, when we're in the gym and if there is someone that's not lifting, we're more likely to look at people that are lifting heavy, like mad heavy, and go, right, they're lifting heavy. Because people like you and me are common in the gym. Like,
I don't think I am.
nah, but they are.
People, right, yeah.
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
people like your physique and
yeah,
stuff, they're
yeah.
common in the gym. So like, it's more like if you see someone that is like actually lifting a mad heavy
They want
weight,
to see if they can back it up.
so we're more likely to look at that and go, fair play. He's fair play. He's got
But
that.
you're still
wouldn't even
watching.
notice.
You're
Yeah, but you're
still
still
watching. I see what you're
watching.
saying.
There you go. See, that answers my question.
but it's
So
nothing-
I'm not going back.
There's nothing negative on that.
No, I get what
it's
you're
not
saying.
negative,
It's like
it's
going
not.
to a football game. You're obviously going to look at the mad players like, oh my God, look at them, they're going in. And you're not going to be looking at me in the corner, toe punting it off the pitch. Like,
Well,
that
if
guy
you've got
sucks.
the ball, I will. If you've got the ball.
No, we've all got a ball. We're all just chilling at
How
the
many
park, man.
balls on a football pitch?
We're not playing a real game.
Oh, right, okay. I was going to say,
Come
what
on,
football
man.
game are you playing? That's just my opinion. That's why I've tried them year after year. I'll do it. And do you know what? The best thing I do get out of going to the gym, Saxon Gate especially, is I bump into so many old schoolmates. And I spend the whole time.
Chatting.
My last trip to the gym, Leon, you actually crease up. Like, literally. I think I was
Mate, I
meeting-
can imagine.
I was meeting Kev there and my stepdad.
my dad.
And I sat for 20 minutes on a bike, one of the bike machines, chatting to my mate Daniel from school. And he was pedalling like a madman, sweating. And I'm just sitting with my legs over the side. I weren't even sitting on the bike. 20 minutes had gone past. I was like, I'm only here for an hour. I better do something. Like, literally. But it was awesome to see Daniel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really enjoyed that element of it. But yeah.
I wondered if a component of that, Max, would be you have to do something that engages you. And the reason I'm saying that is because I kind of took me ages to get interested in exercise because it's just so boring. Like standing there like curling a dumbbell or whatever repeatedly is just dull. So the things that I found myself getting into when I've hit my 30s probably onwards, a frisbee because it's fun. It's probably engaging a bit with the kid self within me. It's all good. It's a team sport, which I wasn't really into before. Jiu-jitsu, fascinating, lifelong kind of obsessive with martial arts anyway. And finally I got into something that was really cool that wasn't like super disciplined. Yes, sensei, no sensei, all that. It's all easygoing Portuguese kind of attitude. And the bike riding is kind of my solitary experience. And I'd say each of those meet a need within me. It's interesting, or I'm getting a bit of sun, or there's an objective that's being met, or there's a view, or I'm listening to podcasts. I've got to have interest because I've been that gym guy before. Back in the day, I wanted to be a fireman, and part of wanting to be a fireman was you got to be ripped. I was never really. I've not got the physique, the frame, if you like, for getting ripped, but it was hard work. It was really hard to stay motivated. All right, I had a goal at the end of it, hoping to be a fireman, but I just didn't have the physique for it, and it certainly didn't have the interest in it. It's boring.
I get you, Adam. Yeah. I feel that like from the bottom of my heart. I cannot get interested in any sort of exercise that, like you say, I don't get anything else from it. I happily play a sport, but like I say, going to the gym, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before. I had a gym membership for nearly 2 years. Probably went maximum of 10 times. Wasted.
See, at the minute, so I said gym, for me, it's still, I see it as fun. So like, but 10 years ago, when I was training every day, it was fun. Like me and my mates would meet down there. There'd be about 3 or 4 of us. At the time, when you're younger, I feel like you just have a bigger friendship group and you know a lot more people and like you're happy just to chat to, well, people that you sort of half know and stuff like that a lot more. And yeah, we was just sitting there and we'd in the gym, we'd see people that we know in there, we're just all training together and it was all good. And like then I suppose that's probably comes into maybe a competitive element as well a little bit. But then the gyms I train at now, I don't know anyone there. So but I still go. But now I feel like it's built into me.
It's a lifestyle though, isn't it, as well? You've very much had it as part of your lifestyle. For how long do you think you've had it, going gym and stuff?
Started at 18.
Yeah. So I could say I've had fitness in my life. I just asked you that question, but straight away started thinking about my answer. So you said 18. What? That was the first sort of when you first realised that actually this is something you want to stick with and you really enjoy, gym and stuff like that. What about like exercise and working out, sports? You've always skateboarded and stuff. Younger, surely.
So I played football up until I was 13, and then also started skateboarding probably when I was about 11. And I stopped turning up for football games because I wanted to go skateboard instead.
Yeah. You give up for skateboarding.
Yeah.
Ours was girls and parties.
Yeah, you know that, Max.
Our whole football team literally went.
Mate, I think that's normal, man.
It's just the norm, isn't it?
It's normal. But yeah, then I went into skateboarding. Then I did stop skateboarding.
So you've always been active, always. And that's what I was about to say about myself. I have. Like when I've always worked. I remember getting my first pull-up bar at the age of 11, 12 because I thought it was cool to have one between your door. My dad absolutely hated it because he'd walk into it every other day and literally go mental. It'd go bang. But I was doing pull-ups and stuff, but I've never... So I have doses. I have spurts. I'll do I'll have a 6-month period where I'm really sort of going, do you know what? I'm going to work out for 20 minutes every other day. I know it don't sound a lot. It might not even be 20 minutes. It might be 10, 15, but I'm going to make sure that I do something every other day. But then I'll have 6 months of doing nothing. But I'm not doing nothing. I'm still going for dog walks, still going for bike rides, still doing that. And that's all exercise. It's all fitness, isn't it?
Just not dedicating actual time to
not
actually working out.
And the meal prep and everything that goes with it. Because if you want to be serious in that lifestyle and have fitness and gym life as a lifestyle, there's the shakes, the pre-workout, post-workouts, all of it. There's so much.
Only if you want results.
You can be generally fit without having.
But most people want to get into it for the results. You said that you was thinking about it, Adam, at the beginning, because firemen, they like to be ripped to a certain degree. Like I know a few overweight firemen, so I don't know how strict they are with that nowadays.
To get in,
you have to get in first, and then you just
let
it all go. Yeah. Right, I'm in now. Release Homer Simpson. But. Look, especially nowadays, I think there's so much motivation for younger kids and for us, for adults and teenagers and all that sort of stuff, with the stuff that we see other people looking like, because we do, don't we? If you see someone, especially that you know, and they're ripped and they're looking really healthy and in shape, you're like, oh, that makes you want to do it. But at the same time, it can so much easier put you back and go, oh, I just can't, do you know what I mean? Put you on a downer. So it's such a powerful thing. But it's either going to go one or two ways. It's either going to motivate you to do something or motivate you.
That's like my mates, Russ and Rye. Ryan got into gym first. So Russ was like, I have to get into gym because I've got a twin brother. If he gets wedger than me or fitter than me, like, it's just disgrace.
He's going to be known as the skinny one.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, no, that's what he said. So they both started training, and then 3 years down the line, they're both putting on weight. They both stopped exercising.
They're doing it together though.
Yeah, at least they both look the same.
I think that's half the trouble. Sometimes you have these pacts with people, and like when one starts slipping off a little bit, it gives license to the other one, and then you're both kind of back where you started, I guess. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I was intrigued by you saying it was such a social thing for you, Leon, as well, because I find when I go jiu-jitsu, it's within a gym. We recently moved into a gym. Before, it was just like a room that we trained in, but because it's within the gym, we get the benefits of the gym as well. So I've only recently, in the last couple of years, actually started gymming. But I see it as very solitary. It's very like, I'll go there, do my workout, fit it in before my sessions. And I wouldn't say jiu-jitsu is kind of social. I suppose you know, martial arts, you're rolling around with people and all that sort of stuff. But it never was the focus for me.
See, There's two sides of that really for me as well, actually, because quite often now I go to the gym on my own as well, because obviously people that I used to train with, different work lives, different like routines and stuff. So then I might only train with a mate like once a week or maybe once every other week. But I just feel like, but maybe that keeps my motivation, because I know he's training. In my head, I'm thinking, well, if he's training, I should be training as well. But then when you're training like on your own, I feel like got your headphones on. You're in the gym, you're just training, you're doing something that's good, your endorphins are going. Like some days you come out in the morning after you've worked out and the sun's shining on you and you just feel like you feel energized, man. Like,
even when you feel knackered after a gym, it's even better to feel knackered, not knackered so much, like the aches, especially the next day. When you get into that mindset of actually getting involved and doing it, I started doing, like, this was a good few years back, Insanity in the mornings. Has anyone heard of that workout, Insanity? It's old now, but when that was first become big.
That was big, wasn't it?
Yeah, that geezer I'd see every morning
Sean
on my TV.
T! This is Sean T! He do you know what? The first time I ever done that, right, I swear he was talking to me. It was a DVD I downloaded, but he knew exactly when you were going to break, because I was 5 minutes in, I think, to the very first DVD, the first session, maybe 10 minutes in, I don't know, maybe 2, whatever. But I literally broke, and I was at the back of the wall sweating, and I was leaning against the wall, like, trying to get my breath back. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And then he goes, all right, go get yourself some water. And I looked around at the DVD player, because it's on the laptop, and he's like, you can take a break if you want to. And I'm like, what? Is this live? No way. It actually freaked me out. I thought, with his knowledge and with the team that he's got, they're going to know when certain people are going to be breaking.
Yeah,
so they chucked in sort of little messages now. I thought, that's amazing. But he got me. But doing that, as hard as it was, and they call it insanity for a reason. It's insanity. I'm not going to say I was committed for many months. I reckon I've done it for like 2 months, 3 months maybe. I felt amazing, literally felt amazing, but I just couldn't keep going. I was doing a physical job at the time as well. If I was sitting in an office every day, I reckon I could have maintained that. But to do that And I was plastering at the time, so it's a really physical job. And then coming back and having a young family and stuff like that, it got to the point where I literally burnt my wick at both ends. But when they say you'll be left with a puddle of sweat after doing Insanity, the wooden floor, the laminate flooring in the living room, it used to be a puddle of sweat. Then mummy walks and stuff.
Yeah, that was the one I remember. I remember taking them off you trying to get wedge.
Frog jumps or whatever it is, like the frog splash jumps where you just jump up and see the leg work. Even the stretches, there's a DVD just of stretches. And that, again, I thought, Thursday, I think it was on the Thursday calendar day, because I downloaded the calendar and everything. And, day of stretches, or not a day, session of stretches. And I reckon I sweat more in those stretches because it's almost like yoga, but it doesn't hurt to hold the stretch. After 2 minutes it does. It's like just sweat pouring off your face. That feeling, that's not nice, but the feeling afterwards, the next day, when you start to feel the burn and you feel that ache, you feel like you've done something. Yeah.
And then a week later, you notice you're a little bit better.
Yeah. And even if you don't see any gains, mentally, it's amazing. I was going to bring this up. If you're having a bad week and a bad day and you're getting deflated because you missed just 2 days worth of training, something come up and you're religiously going training, but you missed 2 days, and you know how much that can impact the ability, especially with like calisthenics and stuff like that. Yeah. If that happens and you start to become a little bit down about it, you could actually look in the mirror, and even though you haven't lost weight, you can tell yourself and you can fully see that you look skinny. But actually you do 1 day's working out and you haven't gained anything. I know you're pumped after a workout, but you let the next day, but because mentally you know and physically you know, you'll look in the mirror and you'll think, I actually look quite good.
See, like, it's amazing. Even on that, when I was fully like committed to training like all the time, if I'd missed 2 or 3 days, I'd get this itch where I'd have to go. So like I might leave it to the 4th day, but on that 3rd day I'd be like, right, tomorrow I'm going gym regardless. And like some days I'd literally get up at 6 a.m. and get to the gym and just get that.
Won't come back till 6
scratch
at night.
That itch, man.
It's part of the motivation, because I get this feeling of like a backward step. Like for every day that I miss, that's the gains that I've lost for the last couple of sessions. Because we always hear often about how quickly your kind of muscle growth deteriorates when you stop working out.
It's insane.
And I find that a motivator for me as well. Did you have that?
Probably. Well, I didn't want to lose muscle because at the time that was what I wanted. Big muscles, but so you miss a few days, and I suppose when you're not aching and you like, we used to feel like you'd need at least one muscle group aching. So like once your arms are healed, like your legs should be aching, or like your chest should be aching, or like they all should be at one part of the week. There should be at least one muscle group aching. And we used to have this saying where, been to the gym. If we go to the gym, no matter what else happens in that day, we've had a productive day. So like we could walk out the gym and get McDonald's, but like, well, don't really matter, we've had a productive day anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you just wanted achy muscles, you could just ask each of your mates to give you a dead leg, one dead arm.
Nice day.
I just want to feel like I've done something. It feels very similar at times, doesn't it? It does. Sometimes you wake up after work, it's like you feel like you've been in a car crash. Like my arms are down by the side, I'm like, oh my days, what's happened? Oh, you've done some exercise, Max.
But the more consistent you are with exercise, the better your body copes with it. So
but actually, you said something earlier. Sorry to jump in. You said about changing gyms and stuff, and I was going to bring something up then, but your body gets used to it. So it's good with any exercise, change it up. Whether that's the gym, I'm not saying just go around gyms and check out different gyms, but if you are doing a certain sort of exercise, weightlifting or calisthenics or just body weight and stuff like that, don't just get stuck in a rut. I had this conversation with my son. He's been really, really bang on the scooter riding and stuff like that, committed to another level. Like he's really, really loving it, but he's forgotten about all the other sports he used to do. Football, cricket, he used to go cricket. I'm not saying I'm not going to force him to do those, but at the same time, the reason it come up actually, he's saying that his wrist hurts, his wrists are really aching. And I was like, it could be a strain, like a repetitive strain. And he was like, what is that? I was like, you've been doing this every day since lockdown. Like you're trying these jumps, you've got putting a lot of pressure on your wrists. It might just be sore and bruised, but there's a thing called repetitive strain. If you do something too much, I had it from when I was in the building trade many years ago. I used to get it on my wrist, but just changing up the muscle groups.
Yeah, mate, when I was skating, legs ache, knees ache every single day for a whole summer. We'd be out 9 o'clock. So we'd get out 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd have like £2 or £3 to go to Sainsbury's, buy a baguette, buy some ham, put that in it, and buy a big bottle of like lemonade, and that's it for the day, innit? Like, and like you literally throwing yourself downstairs, like ramps, not like in a bad way. So
Again, I just had another animation of Leon.
You do tricks downstairs, sets and stuff like that, and like by the end of the day, you get home and like I never just like my knee. I could just feel like aches and pains, and I was only like 15, but I didn't care because like the joy outweighed the pain. So like I just love being out there with the crew.
And then a few years later, those achy knees become smashed knees.
Yeah.
Smashed knee, should we say.
I don't know if you want to go down that route, but I wonder if the listeners might be curious about something we've alluded to before about this horrific injury. I've used that word in a previous podcast as well, and maybe how it ties into your fitness desires.
Right, so I suppose there was a few things that happened leading up to it that probably were bad signs.
Bad omens.
Yeah. So I skated for like 10 years on and off, but when I was younger, I was pretty like solid, probably for about 6 or 7 years. And then I'd come back to it. I'd like to say I was all right, not too bad.
Hold on. Can I just tell the viewers, tell the listeners something? I'm just going to big him up a little bit. He wasn't just not that bad.
He was sick.
He was the sort of guy, right, on this birthday party that we arranged for Mason, this skate park, I'm sorry, Leon, you have to listen to this. It was like 7, 8 warehouses.
A lot of people know it. Corby
is the biggest indoor skate park in the UK.
Yeah.
And when this guy, Leon, was going around on his skateboard, and this was quite a busy skate park, there was boards crashing on the floor. And what they do, when they see a good trick, other boarders, they'll get their board and bang, bang, bang. So if you're a skateboarder, you know what I'm on about. Adam's looking at me, so I'm just going to do a little hand movement at the back of the board like that. Bosh, bosh. You imagine the echo that produces around the arena and the thingy. This guy was getting them all day, all night until, the beginning, something broke, didn't it?
Yeah, well, so on the way up there, Jack locked all the scooters and skateboards in his car.
Oh,
so we had to smash the window.
No. Let me rephrase this. So we're at Max's picking the kids up. It's me and Leon, and I shut the car and I left their keys in my car door. So then we finally, we managed to get them out somehow, and then we get to the place and I do the exact same thing again, but this time they're not in the car door, they're in the boot. So we had to smash my window to get my keys out, and it was the longest thing. So I've done it twice in one day.
And then got to the skate park, it was all good, and I broke my truck. So what did I do? I go and buy a new truck.
And you didn't just break it, you slammed it on a rail. And
I literally snapped like the metal pin inside it. And then, by the way, I've been skateboarding over 10 years. Been very active. I've done boxing, done gymming, never broken a bone. And then this...
It was about, we done the night session, didn't we?
It was a scooter ramp.
We had from 9 o'clock till 1 in the morning, so it was a midnight session, they call it. So basically, at this point, it was pretty much empty. But yeah, he broke his truck and that in this room that they called...
What's the truck?
It's where the wheels are connected to the skateboard.
Okay.
You got that metal truck. Mm-hmm. So that snapped, first of all, at 9, he was in there about half hour. So about 9:30, he'd been in there half hour, boom, he's come out. What are you doing? Oh, I broke my blooming skateboard. So he had to buy a new truck at the shop, got one, boom, he's back in there. There is certain layouts to this place, and there's certain rooms that are classed as skateboard only, scooter only. However, you can go where you want, when you want. The room that we was in was scooters only. The irony is he broke his skateboard. And then
that was in that room as well.
The same room. And then later on that night, when the place was empty, there was Mason and his 5 mates. There was us there. And then Leon literally done a jump. It wasn't even that high.
Nah,
done it loads.
I've been doing it all night, and I just landed wrong.
Landed funny.
No, the worst thing is we're waiting at the top, all of us, see Leon go up, and he just goes up really high.
It wasn't that high though.
But it looks like it from where we were, and then he lands, and there was like probably 2 seconds of silence, and then it was, I broke my leg.
Boys, I think I broke my leg.
I broke my leg. And we was all like, what? So like skate down, look over, and I'm looking at him like, what are you talking about, Leon? Let me see it. And I look down.
Making me go weird now,
I look down,
honestly.
and his kneecap is on the inside of his knee. Of his leg.
Outside, wasn't it around that way?
Yeah, it was. Nah, it's knocked it down
was
to
on the
here.
inside, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's knocked down here.
Wow.
So yeah, he looked like he had his kneecap on the side of his leg, and
On the inside of his leg.
I've actually got a picture, so comment in this video if you want to see it, because it's a madness.
Yeah, we've got the green screen. We'll bring that up.
Yeah, and then we went. So then we took Leon in the ambulance. I followed the ambulance to the hospital.
Can I just say something before that? Just because there is a funny moment that I'll never ever forget. And I don't even know if Leon remembers because he was on gas and air, but at this point. But so it was about a half hour, 40-minute period where this man, Leon, was laying on the floor, potentially in agony. You wouldn't know because he weren't that.
No, you weren't.
I would have probably been screaming. I'm not going to lie. But when the paramedics started trying to actually snap it back into place, because they just assumed that at that point the knee had dislocated.
Yeah.
Right. So they got the leg ready to then bend. So they both held him down. At this point, they said, "Do you want to hold?" I'm holding Leon's hand. Right, and I'm watching this happen, right, and then they're trying to do it and they can't do it. He's like, no. They said, knock your other hand on the floor if it gets too much. So he's knocking his hand on the floor and they're trying to do it again and they're still going against it. I looked down, right, and his hand had gone completely white where I'd drained all the blood out of it. I was squeezing his hand so hard. Honestly, you'd have thought they was doing it to me. I had to let go of his hand because it was probably me hurting him, not them. I was like, I can't do this. But yeah, they genuinely tried to move it. If they'd have done that and carried on with what they were doing, they would have completely messed your leg up, wouldn't they? Because tell them what had happened to the actual bone.
So it turned out I'd broken a leg in 3 places. So my thigh bone, my femur, had literally gone through the whole top of my knee, which is a tibia, and it's called a tibia plateau fracture. So I cracked my femur. I had a hairline fracture on my femur, cracked my patella, and shattered the top of my shin, basically.
How many pins? Go on.
I was about to say, while I was in the hospital, I did hear a doctor describe his injury and his bones as dust. So it was bad.
So they had 9 days in hospital. I had 2 operations.
Was that all you had, 9 days?
Yeah, 9 days.
It seemed like it went on for a lot longer.
Ages, didn't it?
2 operations. Although I had one of the best knee surgeons in the country. I don't know if they say that in all hospitals. Just to make you feel better.
They can't say that, surely.
Just they do research and go around and do...
No, it's because they watch The Simpsons. There's that doctor on The Simpsons that just...
Hello, everybody. Dr. Nick.
He'd done the operation on my knee. Still in recovery still now, but...
Percentage-wise, what would you say, Leon, recovery?
Well, at the minute,
yeah.
where I'm at, I'd say I'm at 60%.
I was thinking that as well.
I mean, that's good, but it's like, wow, that's quite far off like complete recovery.
Well, we'll put it this way. He could jump my height before, well, my shoulder height, which is what, 5'11", no, 5'10".
Yeah.
And he could jump over that. You used to call him frog legs.
I'm sure
that's frog leg.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be getting there, but yeah, bike riding.
Yeah, great for it.
It's been wicked for it. So each time I feel like I can like get to different levels. So like once I've hit that level, once I could walk again, then I had to build up some muscle to do another exercise, and then so you just like hitting levels as you go up.
That's the thing, that you literally had to start not from because you had use of one leg, but you technically starting from scratch, and but with fitness and stuff. And the walking, the fact that you couldn't walk. Like,
so when you talk about muscle loss and muscle deterioration, whatever, my leg literally had 0 muscle on it when I was about to start walking again, when I could put pressure through it. So there's literally nothing of it. Like, the leg was so skinny, it made my knee look like it bulged out.
It's weird because looking at your leg now, it doesn't actually look... Right. Yeah, it doesn't look abnormal.
Cheers.
But remember, we used to sit there and you'd pull your trousers tight and one leg would be half the size of the other. And you'd be like, oh, look at this, bro.
It is definitely getting there.
You could see that it hadn't been used. Like, clearly. The thing is, and you think... from how active you was, like, to be bedbound for 9 days, well, longer than 9 days, because even though when you come out of hospital, you literally, you still weren't doing anything. It's sofa, sitting down, you had to just chill. There's nothing you could do.
Nothing I could do.
He left me and Chris.
But that's not a reason not to skate, ladies and gents. That's not a reason not to do stuff that could potentially cause harm. And because that was a freak accident, and do you know what? You could do that.
No regrets.
Yeah, that's say you would still have that accident and choose to have all those years skating.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, like, I've had best times of my life doing sports activities, skateboarding, gym, boxing. Like, you got to push your body. You got to get that adrenaline rush.
As we're starting to wrap up, I did want to kind of pick up on that about, what would we say, how life-changing has it been for the exercise stuff? What have been the benefits? I can ramble on about that for myself, but what have been the benefits for you that you've noticed psychologically, physically, spiritually in some cases?
What, just working out in general?
Yeah. Like, what can you look back and go, oh, that gave me this, or this gave me that, or...
For me, now I can look back and I feel like I used my body to its full potential, and I got it to a point where I got it to my peak. So then I knew what my capabilities were, whether I was boxing or skateboarding.
Great metaphor, actually, for everything. Yeah.
So then, so I can look back and I was like, I was the strongest at that point in my life. I was the strongest that I'll ever be, and that's all fitness.
So you don't think you'll ever peak? to what you had? Is that what you're saying?
Nah, I don't think I got the drive to get
Mate,
there again.
you're not old. You've got loads of years left. Come on.
Yeah, when I say the drive, the competitive drive to get to those places where I got to.
Yeah, I think you'll have another surge. You'll have another spike of thinking.
I will
When you have
always keep
midlife
fit.
crisis.
I will always have fitness. Like I will always have that as part of my life.
Yeah.
But to get to that point,
Where it's like a commitment. Like
every day where it's a lifestyle. I won't.
Yeah, but that changes only on. This is what I'm saying. So you won't
maybe
have
never say never. Yeah,
you won't maybe have the amount of times that you go to a gym, for example. You might not have that sort of routine set in place, but for those that don't know, you're getting parenthood soon.
Yeah,
so this is when it all takes different steps. So you'll potentially, and I've done this with Mason and me until I was not stronger enough to do it no more. But when you're running around in the garden and you're doing loads of fun stuff with your children and stuff, like that is exercise. And genuinely, like you see on YouTube and on social media, how many kids get involved with their parents and stuff. I used to get them on my back and do push-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
You'll be doing all that. And that
100%.
is a different kettle of fish. Like you'll feel stronger in different ways doing that, and you have fun. It's you, like you said, I think you'll always be active. I think all of us here are fairly active.
I'm the fittest I've been in my life.
Yeah.
I'm 43.
That's
I
got
wouldn't say
active
I'm
thumbs.
fit. I'm saying I'm active, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily fit.
Yeah, but in comparison, you're probably not. If you was like looking at like the population as a whole, you'd probably be in like top percentage.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I feel
As in,
good.
I think there's
I don't know. It sounds good.
Yeah, just leave it there, leave it there, leave
You
it
don't
there.
need to pull it apart.
There's something about exercise as well. I think that the things that you enter into, you're kind of committing to progress. Like something that I've got from you as you've been talking, Leon, is you always did a thing and always sought that next level, that next bit. Even as I'm thinking now, you're on that bike ride, I'm already thinking he's going to be getting longer ones, tougher ones, that kind of thing.
Jumps.
There's a sort of building to it. But I also think that's not necessarily unique. I think if you're going to do exercise, that's what you're going to be seeking. Like martial arts, you want to keep getting better, and have people crush you less, as I've experienced in my experience. But just to kind of finish on that, really, one of the things I would love young people to get much more involved in is martial arts. I think the things that I've gained from that as someone who was insular, anxious, susceptible to depression, all the things that it's given me from a psychological point of view about confidence, about putting my shoulders back and facing the world with courage has been a certain part of doing martial arts. And an element of like a lot of the fears I might have had around bullying. I got a lot of bullying when I was a kid, and I wish I would have learnt this one back then. I did a bit of karate and stuff, but I was never really enjoying it. But this I love. I want to go back. All the guys are like, when are we going to, we're here and gyms are open sort of thing. But I don't think that necessarily equates to jiu-jitsu really, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to getting back into that, because I can feel some of the knowledge starting to erode. And there was a repetition to that of going, 2 or 3 times a week, of keeping that in my head, because I've experienced a 6-month break when I got injured and how it erodes. So this backward step thing, I think, is something that I always am wary of. But I just think all the confidence and stuff. I mean, I'd love to get it on the NCS. I'd love to teach young people a bit of jiu-jitsu. I'd love to be able to do that, but obviously there's issues with that, I think.
You say about any martial arts, really, any self-defense, like boxing, they rate boxing so much for people to get into, especially young people. Just teach them discipline, a little bit of discipline, self-discipline.
Yeah,
training.
I can vouch for that, because I did boxing probably like a year and a half, and like you think, like it's a perception before you go in, you think, like I'm just gonna go in, get beaten up or whatever. But everyone's got such a level of respect where like everyone like, don't get me wrong, there are people in certain gyms that might want to like just get a bit too aggressive and stuff like that. But majority of the time, you go in, you spar. You can go to what level you want. Like, no one's gonna force you to go and spar. Like if you want to just shadow box or whatever, you can do what you want. And if you want to push it, it is good to push it. Like I've always found, it's good.
It's an aspect of the shared experience that you all know that it's blooming hard and it takes a lot and it's difficult and challenging and painful at times.
And getting hit in the face isn't actually that bad. Like you think like it's so painful, but when you're boxing, if I got hit in the face now by a raw fist with no glove on, I'd probably cry. Like, I'd firm it, and then like later on I'd be like,
Actually,
but like when you're boxing and stuff, it's like different. Like you just feel like, it's wicked.
Yeah, I mean, we've all had experience with exercise, and I think what we're hoping to convey in this podcast is, get out there, do some, even if it's like my approach with like, there's no excuse for a 15-minute workout, that kind of thing, or there's stuff that you can do with your loved ones as well, or perhaps with some of the conditions that are going to be opened up a little bit more with the virus, that you can get out a bit more, use the time, I would say. So
yeah, no rules. Max saying, don't like gyms, get out there, get in the forest, get in the garden.
The thing is, it's not just the gyms and stuff. It's active living, isn't it? Just be a little bit active. Like you said, it can be painful at times, no matter what it is, whether it's boxing, jiu-jitsu, training, skipping. It's going to hurt to progress. You're going to get blisters, you're going to get aches, you're going to get pains. You might even break a bone. But let's be honest, that can happen on a day to day.
Yep.
In any life, can't it? So
did for Leon.
It did.
Yeah. Did. But
you adrenaline junkie, you.
Mate, I didn't break a bone until I was 28.
That is good.
And
that is good.
The amount of stuff I'd done in my life, like, I'm surprised.
So let's wrap up, guys. Nice one. Thanks for your contributions. And this has been another episode of Here to Listen podcast. See you next time.
See you later, guys.
We out.
Jesus.
Still recording.